People have got these job titles, vice president of global operations and all of this. I spend a lot of time in the sauna, and when you see them with their clothes off, they've got 2 nipples and a belly button. People, it means nothing.
Most of us has a monkey mind. Average person has 60,000 thoughts per day. 60,000 thoughts. And alone by itself, it can kill us.
I have Crohn's disease. I've had it since I was 15, and I've managed it from the age of 31. So for the last 11 years, I've managed it without any medication. Every time I go for an annual check, they're like, "What drugs are you taking?" I'm like, "I'm not taking any." You really should be taking something. I don't need to take it. When I'm under pressure and I've been under stress at work, I can feel that others in the team, they go quiet because I'm the manager. They pick up on that. They feed off that, and it'll spread throughout your team.
Most ancient tradition, philosophy in the world, and then under the yoga, you have pillars. These pillars are so important, and one of the pillars is
the last 15 years working in quite a corporate environment, and I've recently taken that experience now and I've set out earlier on this year to work for myself. So I work with small and medium-sized businesses, a lot of contact centers, a lot of insurance companies, working to optimize processes and try and improve workflows. I do some lead generation as well to kind of provide businesses with more leads. We've got an ads guy as well now, so we're doing some advertising for businesses, content creation, that kind of thing as well. So that's kind of that's my core business. You won't be surprised though. I'm not Joe Rogan. I'm not making any money off this podcast.
You are. For me, you are. Listen, I treat everybody as I would treat anyone.
That's a great way to live. It's a great way to live.
I don't really care who you are. I mean, I care. I care about. I do care about your heart. What's your passion? What are you into? But I literally love people, and it just for me is like I connect with anyone. Regardless of who they are, what they do, what's the possession, what is the position. It's just me, So
I respect that, Naama. It's interesting because I've worked with corporates, a lot of people especially when you go into, people have got these job titles, vice president of global operations and all of this. And I spend a lot of time in the sauna. And when you see them with their clothes off, they're just like you and me. They've got 2 nipples and a belly button. They're just people. It means nothing.
It's interesting what you're saying, but when you meditate, when you have meditation as part of your daily practice, you really understand that you are not your position, you're not the possession, you're not, this is not defining who you are, and that every day you can actually be who you wish to be or what your intention are and move in this direction, and you learn to let go of any attachment because we are just serving on this earth. We are just server of the universe. And it's an illusion of, oh, you are this, and this is your position, and this is who you are, and this is what you do. While when you are so open to anything to happen in any given moment, and you enjoy every moment, when nobody's looking, I enjoy the most. It's interesting because just last week I met some amazing people in the ITC Vegas conference that I was.
I saw the invitation.
I was participating, and it was, there was a lot of parties went on, and it was so much fun. But it didn't end up happening as probably the expectation were or whatever, and I'm like. And I had the best time of my life, just because seriously, and it's just because I said yes and I went to the ride, and it was a ride, and it was amazing. So I think that for me it works. I live this way every day, and I will always say, I will never ask you, like for example, if you invite me for dinner, I will never ask you who is going to be at this dinner. Well, what's the name of the people? I literally don't care how many people will be there. I don't care, It just, and again, you become and you start living your life in a healthier way. For me, I'm only speaking on my behalf.
No, I'm not in my grade.
It's a healthy way. It's always been a healthy way for me. I was like that as a child, by the way. You will tell now, let's go here. I will go, okay, I'll go with you. Let's go there. I'll go with you. I mean, it's like, and always had the best time.
Do you know the interesting thing, Naama? I aspire to be like that. The people that I gravitate to and the people that I like the most, like my best friends are that way. And my best friend in Wales from childhood, he and I were very, very different. He's a sorterman by trade. I've worked in corporates. He doesn't know how to turn on a laptop. I certainly don't know how to butcher a cow, right? But I admire him so much because he's almost got a Buddhist mindset, whereby he doesn't want for anything. He doesn't chase job titles. He doesn't chase material objects. All that matters to him is whether his family's happy and that he's happy. And that's how his whole world is centered. And he is one of the, if not the happiest person I know. And he's the same, like he doesn't ask questions. He's like, Kev, do you want to do this? Kev, and he's just like, yeah, let's go. He lives a very free and fulfilling life. And it doesn't come naturally to everybody. I certainly don't find, I've got to work on it. And you touched on meditation. Meditation is something I struggle with, and not to find time to do, but I struggle with the act of meditation. My mind is very, very active. The thing that I've kind of compromised with now is non-sleep deep rest. So I do 20 minutes of non-sleep deep rest every day, which is along the same lines as meditation. It kind of gives me 20 minutes where my mind isn't racing. But the actual practice of meditation, I find I get to, the very kind of introductory meditation where you're just counting your breaths in and out. Next thing you know, I'm up to 30 and I'm off thinking about all kinds of different things. No, mate, it's unreal. I can't tell you.
It means that you are normal. It means it means welcome to the club, I mean, it's like, it's a club. I'm always saying it's like kids. I mean, and it's interesting because again, I'm delivering this broken healthcare system in the US for too long. I'm ashamed to say for how long, because it's been over 3 decades and it's horrible and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So for me, I was always looking for solutions to really, and what does it mean to be healthy, and what does it mean to be on a healing journey? And do I really need to be diagnosed as a chronic disease patient in order for me to start healing, the healing process? So that was a question that really took me back to my roots and started a whole conversation with myself. And I was on my own journey when I actually realized, oh my God, this is healing. Living this lifestyle, this is healing. Doing this is healing. Eating, eating my healthy bar, this is healing. Drinking my green juice, this is healing. I mean, everything we do is basically our conversation right now. It's healing for me. So while we are on this journey, this component of meditation, and as you mentioned, I mean, breath is everything. So there is the yoga, the conversation about the yoga, which is the ancient, most ancient tradition philosophy in the world. And then under the yoga, you have pillars. And one of the pillars is breath. The other pillars is meditation. So, and and then you have the active process, and then you have the food. But these pillars are so important, and it's not, I'm only doing this. You're doing a lot. You're taking the time every day to do 20 minutes, to practice 20 minutes and consciously breathe. It's huge. And then most of us has a monkey mind, unless you are a monk in the Himalayas or dead, we have monkey mind, and I always mentioning it, average person has 60,000 thoughts per day, 60,000 thoughts. And it's alone by itself, it can kill us. And most of it is negative. And it's repeating itself And it's like over and over. And I do this as well. I mean, I can talk about it all day long, but still I'm doing it because it's always a journey. It's not a destination. So we always on this trip and on this wagon to continue doing it, to continue showing up, to educate people, to talk about, because the policy, when you deliver a policy, regardless if it's like in the UK, you guys, again, have a way better healthcare than we have here in the US, as far as access, as far as people feel more comfortable. Here, people afraid to use the system, literally afraid, even though I keep saying it's zero copay. Your annual physical, once your well exam is zero copay, and people are like still not going because they still get bills and extra bills and bills and bills, and thousands of dollars, like monthly on the premium. And then if you need to access care, is you have to go bankrupt. So the average American cannot afford healthcare. And again, yet UK is not perfect, but at least you wake up in the morning and you know that you covered. And you know that if you don't feel well, you can see the doctor, and the doctor will not prescribe medication right away. You know, he will give you other solution or guidance to how do you, no,
Not
not really?
entirely. Not
Okay.
entirely now. No, no, no. I mean, listen, there are some doctors. There are some
Yeah.
doctors that will. There are some doctors that will, and I'll share this with you. And I have Crohn's disease, which is it's an inflammatory disease and an autoimmune disease. And I've managed this issue from the age I've had it since I was 15, and I've managed it from the age of 31 until I'm 42 now. So for the last 11 years, I've managed it without any medication, with zero medication.
Wow. That's about it. Well, with food and
Food, diet, mindfulness. I sauna every day. I exercise. I take supplements. There's a supplement, sulforaphane, that I take. I take probiotics. It costs me a small fortune, right? I spend £250 a month on supplements. Okay. And that's not because I'm obsessed with supplements. It's because I know that the supplements that I'm taking are required, and they work fish oils and all these other things that I take, zinc, magnesium. I eat clean as well. I eat very clean. I don't, like very little sugar, zero alcohol. But every time I go for an annual check, they're like, "What drugs are you taking?" I'm like, "I'm not taking any." "You really should be taking something." I'm like, I don't need to take anything. And I go in for routine, intrusive examinations to see what's going on. And every single time the consultant says, "So what drugs are you taking?" Because they're just doing the colonoscopy one. And I don't take anything. Nothing. They're always bamboozled how my bowels are in such good condition without taking any medication.
yeah.
Every time.
That's amazing. That's amazing because this disease and condition actually, and I'm very familiar with this condition, is the key is to manage it. And you're right. And managing it is not taking prescription, because the prescription can actually cause so much other
Huge problem.
symptoms. I mean, it's crazy how these prescriptions are so strong. And I mean, it's just unbelievable. And this is, by the way, this is why I do believe in a lot of solutions that are available right now for employers. For example, very large employers that self-funded, the captive opportunities for solutions. So you manage care in a different way. But I think that, again, I don't think there is a perfect system in the world, unless we're going to really going to India, going back to the roots of the Indian healthcare, when you really see people, yeah, there are poverty there. There are people that don't have access to care, but most people are really simply managing it with their healthier people. You look at them, and that's probably because of again, might be less alcohol
Diet.
and lifestyle,
Diet.
but
Diet.
mostly diet. But also in China, look at China, look at the Chinese medicine, which is also, it's all about the circulation of the blood. And I mean, again, the conversation, it's totally different than we have here in the West. So I include UK as the West as well.
Yeah, me too.
Europe,
Me too.
yeah, Europe and as the West. But I travel a lot to Europe. I love Europe. What I can tell you, when I go deeper into healthcare system in the world, because that's my passion, and that's where my interest is all about healthcare system, the insurance system, more than the other side of it. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but people in Europe are healthier. And I realize that there must be, and sometimes you go to Paris and you see them sitting in the cafe, smoking,
Always
drinking,
smoking.
they're drinking wine since 11 a.m. or even earlier, you know? And I think there is other components that work together hand in hand. And this is why when I'm telling you about the healing process that we all need to be on, regardless of any condition, I think that it is go back to the fact that they walk everywhere. When people walk everywhere, this is critical to our health and healing. So it's not just the step issues. I mean, it's like the movement, because we became very sedentary in the last, I would say, especially 15 years, since the internet and the computer, and then we're sitting a lot on our desks. So I think that the people in Europe walk way more. They're more social. There are more social interactions. So people are like sitting in the cafe. I meet you. I see you there. I see you there. There's more people are not isolated. And I think that in the US, because in many, states in the US, it's so big and it's so widely spread when it's, I think that in Europe is really, you guys are, and also in Israel, by the way, also in Israel, it's the same thing.
All right.
I mean, people are more, with all the suffering, with all the anxiety, with all the stress, people are super friendly. It's like, I mean, it's like nonstop. I see you there. I see you there. They have a parliament here, a parliament there. When they get together, the men together, the women together, I mean, there's a lot of this component that makes people happier. And then when bring us back to the beginning of the conversation about being happy. So I think that that's also what's happening in Europe. Also the food, I think there's less people. So it's easier to manage the food lines, So I mean, it's more of a farm to table. Even the wine, I always when I get to go travel to Europe, I meet a lot of my friends that are in the wine business. So I'm like, you go to France and the Bordeaux area, I mean, it's very obvious that the way you grow the grapes is different. So it just, I think it's holistically a different way to live your life, but I think that we can adapt. And I think that now with the internet going on the blockchain, now everything go really digital, and when we gonna have the entire ecosystem way more transparent and more being out there for education, I think, and understanding, we will be able to learn more about Europe. Europe will learn more about the US, about China, about Asia. I mean, and I think it's all gone somehow. Sometimes it's gone and love. We have to love each other. We have to. We have
So
to.
important.
We have
That's
to.
how we love ourselves, man. We have to love ourselves as well.
Oh yeah.
I think sometimes we get caught up in this rat race that we call life, and we forget. And this is listen. I'm repeating here what I've been told so many times about myself, because sometimes my internal dialogue isn't always positive. I make the smallest mistakes and I beat myself up for days over it. And I think we got to make time for that. There's a few things you said there that were very interesting. And I think the social side of it, I think, the studies that have been done now, and again, so someone else I'm working on is being more sociable, because those who are more sociable, they live longer. They certainly live longer, and that's come out of these meta studies now. The other thing I think that's interesting with the food, and I appreciate what you're saying. In Europe, we've got smaller countries, so it's kind of easier to manage the food chain. But if you combine the whole of Europe, we share a lot of produce. But there are many things in the US that the EU will not allow. There's many products, there are many chemicals, there are many fertilizers that are used in the US that we won't allow in in Europe and in the UK. I think that's got a lot to answer for. I really do. I think that's got a lot to answer for. I think that a lot of what's going into if you look at what we're feeding animals. I eat meat. Okay, my friend was a slaughterman. He gets me butchered. He gets me wild venison. So the majority of my diet is the meat is wild venison. But in the States, and this is something I've looked at quite closely. A lot of the chemicals that you're allowed to use on crops that are being grown for animals are not allowed to be used on crops that are being grown for people. But if the animal's eating it and you're consuming the animal, then surely that's, believe me, I'm not a scientist when I say this, but it doesn't. I'm just trying to piece it together. I think there's a lot of it's to do with what we're putting in ourselves, and people are gravitating towards fast foods and easy foods, microwave meals that come in plastic containers, coffees that come in cups that are lined in plastics. A lot of these things has to have an accumulative effect. I think everything you mentioned in Europe that we have. I mean, the life expectancy in the US is dropping, which is really alarming. From a world leader with some of the best scientists and some of the best pharmaceutical companies and some of the
Interesting.
best doctors in the whole world, and yet life expectancy is dropping. What do you think the main kind of driver behind that is? Was it hard to put your finger on one thing?
So if we are relating, especially for the UK, the conversation, if we narrow down UK, I think UK was really extremely suffered during the COVID. If you studied the world during COVID, you guys were locked down. You guys were like, wow, wow. I remember, back in the beginning of the pandemic, it was the Clubhouse. Clubhouse came in March 17, I think 2019. They started the app, and then COVID started, right by the end of the 2019, and then there were rooms only with people from the UK. I mean, so I got to really attach to the UK on different perspective on healthcare, but also on art and medicine, and it was a conversation of everything. I think that you guys really suffered during the pandemic. So and if you've been in London, I mean, in the cities, in the big cities in the UK, you know how condensed it is already. You know how it's very strict. So I think that that's part of what's happening right now. Again, because this conversation should be pre-COVID and post-COVID. I think also that the immunization, that's the result of the immunization. We've seen, and I also in the UK and in Europe, higher number of people just either don't wake up in the morning or getting sudden heart attacks, and especially male, by the way. So I think that, again, I'm not saying that this caused by, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but I'm definitely seeing higher death ratio and more diagnostic in the last 3 years, I would say, 4 years. And I have more clients in the agency that are very sick and diagnosed. You have more kids diagnosed with cancer and all kinds of chronic disease, which is like, I wonder. I also think that the mental situation, the mental health pre-COVID was in total deficit. I mean, we weren't talking about it, but now there is a little bit more conversations, and I think that we are just. It's very hard to be human. it's not easy to be human. And with all the now add on for social media, the stress, if you're not raising kids, you stress. If you're raising kids, you stress. If you're, if you're single, you stress. If you're married, you stress. I mean, it's really hard to find the way to basically love yourself. And then you said that. And again, I'm the biggest believer in that, because you cannot love anyone else unless you love yourself. So we need to come closer and closer and closer to ourselves in order for us to love ourselves and be and understand that we can change. We can change, we can be flexible, we can tweak, we can move into a very comfortable space to create the environment that we can all thrive together. But listen, my health is not just mine. I need to care for you. I mean, we just met. I care for you. I don't, you can reach out to me anytime. I will help whatever I can. You can, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just the open heart that we're going to have in order for us to come together, even if we're not physically together, but, anywhere in the world, and create and understand that you might have a different opinion than I do, or maybe a mixed opinion, or maybe, it depends on what it is, but we can still, so I think it again, way more. I think also we sleep less. So I think sleeping is now also that I have the ring, and it's oh my God. And it's like it's not accurate. That's my problem with that. And I'm getting sick of explaining them that it's not accurate, because I said, okay, Naama, it's not your job to let them know over and over that it's not accurate, but it's not. But the sleep detection, that actually is accurate. That's the only thing it's accurate. And even now, when I'm really trying to sleep longer, better, it's so hard. And I'm like, oh my God, now I have to add another thing to worry about now that I need to sleep. you know, I need to sleep better. But it's showing that it's really one of the most healing aspects of our body. I mean, and I'm studying this now closer and closer. So I think that we'll sleep less, because there is more, like it's very easy to get interrupted with this and this and that. And it's funny because, I not funny, but I am actually treating social media or my desk or everything else in segments, because if I start multitasking, I stop multitasking. I used to be a multitasker,
Yeah, I'm used to.
but I stop consciously, because, I mean, I can still be a multitasker, and I'm also, that's how I lead my team. I tell them, don't multitask, do this, when you do your email, you do your email. Then you do this. Sometimes people needs to wait because the phone calls are, it's hard to change, and it's hard to move into the present moment, because this is what we want to accomplish. We want to move into the present moment.
What is it about multitasking then, Alma, that you are trying to steer away from it? What is it about multitasking you feel? Do you feel that affects your sleep?
I feel like, yes. So first of all, it's affect everything. It's affect everything. No, when I stop multitasking, then I realize, oh my God, I actually have more time, because, when you work in segments, like right now I'm with you, I'm focusing on you, I'm in the moment, I'm not trying to do anything else, I'm not trying to think on anything else. So this is the training of the mind, body, spirit to actually be present. And then when I'm going to finish with you, I'm going to go eat, and I'm going to eat, because I will focus on eating, because then I can, digest everything better. And then I'm going to work on my emails, or I have another meeting. So, it's like I work in segments, and also on my desk, I work on segments, it's like I have files, I have, I respond to email in a certain ways, emails. Also emails, people think emails is like, no, emails replace the snail mail,
Yeah.
and not all the way around. So I used to get a letter saying, you need to do so and so, so and so. Now they're sending me an email. Some people are, I don't even have my email on my phone because yeah, I only want it on my desk. So when I'm working on my desk, that's where I'm, working on
I had to
email.
take it off. I had to take it off because otherwise I'm sat there in the night and I just have a quick look. I just want to show you this, and I don't know if you can read. I don't know if you can read this, but I do that, and you know what? I actually kind of beat myself up about it in the past until you've explained it like that. But I work in isolation on the topic. I'll even set a timer and go, right, for the next 1 hour, I'm working on this specific thing, and this is what I've written down before. And I don't know if you can read it there, but I'll read it to you. The Tuesday to do. Every note is an action is written down. The only thing that matters for the next 90 minutes is the podcast with Naama. That's it. That's it.
No.
But that's just written down. Because otherwise, I mean, walk back down and I spend half an hour before the call, I don't know, just kind of getting my head in the right
Amazing.
state. Because otherwise, I'm checking emails, I'm checking, I feel the action of actually physically writing that down on a notepad. And then I put that down and I do that all day.
We are syncing on the same energy.
Sure,
That's why we here. That's why we're here together. So it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, for sure.
Naama, you've got so many layers. When I looked at your, and it's one of the reasons I was really keen to speak to you. You work in insurance, which some would perceive as being it's not the most exciting topic in the world, right? For most people, let's be honest. Right? I find it interesting. I find it fascinating, and that's why I'm doing this podcast. But it's not for everybody. Then on the other side, you're an NFT artist, and you're clearly interested in blockchain. You mentioned it earlier, and blockchain and technology, and driving that forward. And then on the other side again, you're this clear mindfulness and philosophical way about you as well, which those three things rarely come together. And I think that makes you such a unique character. And I'm sure there's many more sides to you as well that we won't get to
Oh
today.
my God. I hope I can handle myself, someday. Yeah. No, but it's really interesting that you mentioning it because it's all connected. And it used to stand alone by itself. And then when I realized, wait, it's all connected basically. Because, I mean, I have a career in benefits and health insurance and solution, for coverage for expats, also traveling inbound, outbound the US for very large corporation that work globally. I manage this agency. We manage this agency, and I have this agency for, I think it's been 36, 7 years, I mean, yeah. So, right. Yeah. And then what keeps me excited about waking up every morning is the hope that I have for the US healthcare, the time that I actually giving back and volunteering and spending time on finding solutions and finding the best possible way for people to have better access to care. So I'm doing it for many, many years. And then being the meditation and the yoga world and Ayurvedic medicine and the Chinese medicine, all what I do for myself started many years ago, doing it for me. And then all of a sudden I had like almost a moment of enlightenment. I would say I wish, but I still have a long way, but like and hoped for implementing it into the US healthcare. So now I'm using my tools, what I learned and what I did, and all the training that I went through into implementing it. And I do it for many years already for in the agency for our clients. We have thousands of clients in the agency, So so this is something that actually merged naturally, Then I started teaching meditation coach. So the philosophy of the primordial sounds meditation, which is taking you to the technique of the mantras, which the mantras are the instrument of the mind. And, it's based on the date of your birth, the time of your birth, and the place of your birth. It's the calculation of the mantra. There are 108 mantras that can be calculated. And so teaching that, so I started doing it for the C-suite, for team buildings, for the managing team, for corporate America and not in America. Started that. And then from there, I started leading meditation more and more. And then for me today, if you are really respect yourself and hosting a large, either a meeting, a conference, a board meeting, whatever it is, and you start with few minutes of meditation and mindfulness, conversation, and few breaths, the entire conference, if you add it as an add-on, it's changing people's life. You are implementing something that is really physically influencing people right away. So it's open your heart. It's allowing you to connect to each other better. Energetically, you swifted the spirit is almost in the house, when you host event, and then started the branding. So the branding started a few years ago when I connected with brands, and now I work with brands again through these sessions, to include these sessions into meetings, conferences, and potential of exposing brands into the US healthcare globally, and also not just in the healthcare, behind the scene, and became advisors for several startups and companies that are already in the market, and advising them, on how to really, it's basically beyond your brand and your website, and the logo and website. It's a strategic branding that is building a solid ground for the spirit of the brand. So I think, and that's what take me to be the mindful officer for some of the organization, and helping developing this mindful movement, and basically be the heart center of many of the organization, many of them behind the scene, but it's being very fulfilling. And then I'm a mother. Don't forget I'm a mother.
Of course.
Yeah. And then the artistic way is connected as well, because I'm an artist. This is my artwork.
I could see. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's one of my artwork, my favorite one actually.
Is it an NFT as well? What was that
This is an
produced on?
NFT as well. This is an NFT as well. Yeah. So and for me, I stopped painting in back in the days, because I don't want to sell. It wasn't my career. So the NFT, the conversation about the technology and art to combine and create an ecosystem that now taking us into tokenization and into the crypto world, of course, but it's makes so much sense, and it's all about the technology. Also, healthcare will move in a speed of light, because of the technology that develop right now, AI. It's almost like it's obvious that we going to be able to improve health, relationship, hopefully only for the positive. I'm just praying for the positive, but I do everything in a creative way. But it's definitely, if you can pick one thing from now on until your last breath, will be to paint every day, to
Really?
oh yeah, to super artistic. That's bring me. It's funny because I'm getting older now, and it's like it's hard to paint on the floor and on the it's not like it used to be. Even painting go. I actually just made a new series of painting. I was still three missing. We did four with another friend of mine. He's an amazing artist. We did the collaboration of the seven chakras,
Okay.
and each chakras has their authentic being and energy behind it, and the painting is like represent of each chakras of the body. And so it's I can do that all day long. It's just right now the priorities, like I'm trying to balance the priorities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's fascinating, and I tell you what, Nama, how you explain that, pulling them all together, it makes a lot of sense. Really does make a lot of sense. I'm very interested in the corporate side of them welcoming you into the business to implement this as a mindful mind. I don't know what the role you're like head of mindfulness, however they kind of describe it.
A mindful officer.
The mindful officer.
Yeah.
How does that work? Because as I mentioned, I do non-sleep deep rest, and I can be feeling a whole host of different emotions, frustration, stress, all the other things that we deal with. I can go upstairs, I can park it for 20 minutes, and I come back down, and if I feel it here, it's gone. That whatever it was that was there in my solar plex,
Amazing.
when I take a breath now, it doesn't hit me in the stomach every time I take a deep breath. It's gone.
Amazing.
And I feel in that moment, I'm a kinder person, right? I'm a more generous person. I'm a more loving person to my wife. I'm more attentive to my kids. And I would do it at work in the corporate job. I would go and get a pod and I would do it for 20 minutes and I would come back out and I would just be a different person for my team as well. I can see the benefits of that because I've practiced in a different form, but what you're trying to get across. How difficult is it to get C-suite executives to see the value in this if they don't already practice it themselves?
Exactly. This is exactly. You are so on it. It's unbelievable. I find it very difficult to meditate or bring the conversation of meditation or breath or anything unless either the founder, the CEO, the C-suite, the COO, somebody in leadership is really practicing. So I always start from the 10% of the top of the organization, and it's always going to have someone that either. Oh, and again, even back in the days, it was really harder. But now you can find someone that tried, been there, was interested in, heard of, read a book about it, have an app on their phone, something that. So you start from there, and then what I do when I'm implementing is baby steps. Baby steps. Each organization is different. Each board is totally different. Each organization is different. And some organization are also have people are like, oh, they're very happy about that. And then they're like, oh, I don't think so. The few people say, what is it? What is it? What is it? Why are we doing it? You're always going to find the people that will say, what's going on? But if you being consistent. So consistency in this process is very important. And it's not one solution fits all, not one fits all. It's not one way when you are and I listen, I'm in the corporate world and not for a long time. So I'm working with the biggest corporation in the US, which are the insurance carriers for many years. And and also very large organization that are delivering. When you are in the health insurance industry, we have clients from science, for the doctors, the providers, the accountant, the machinery, the biologists, we have clients of the construction and development, and so I also when I come for even the first meeting with potential organization that would like to start a conversation and have some sessions, I know exactly or very educate about what's the community of employees like, and the team, and what's the challenges. I understand the challenges behind the team, because I am touching every year we're delivering the healthcare. I'm right now is a lot on Zoom, but I also used to see the employees in person. I know them really well. I know their health. I know their wish. I know a lot of things that a lot of people do not know. So I can combine it all to bring it in the level to meet the employees, the teams, the C-suite where they are, and baby steps slowly. So for one company, it can be like just once a month, the team opening with meditation or a conversation about mindfulness. For the other is adding some messages through their mailing for clients or internal mailing. For others is when they come together as a team. So just be there for them and host several sessions. For some it's just teaching the C-suite and the managing team to meditate. I mean, it looks different for every organization, but I have no doubt that, listen, I also have no doubt that especially startups, when they are investing in their culture and investing in culture can be, again, even if to have healthy snacks in the physical space, but also provide virtual support to whatever they need. I mean, if it's mental, if it's just a conversation, if it's just a smile, if it's just a breath. So yeah, and that's what healing and health and insurance and all that needs to happen, and in a better way, tighter way, to actually be able to deliver a more efficient way of care and helping people to develop their own love to themselves.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think I'm thinking of companies that I worked with where it's quite masculine about it. My background previously, I did work in a lot of engineering companies, and I think that it can be quite testosterone driven. And I can't help but think, if the senior leadership team were practicing some kind of mindfulness, whether it's just the simple non-sleep deep rest like I do, because I think sometimes you mention meditation to people and they picture you sat there humming with your hands and your legs crossed in a room and music, there's so many different ways of achieving some kind of peace in your mind and in your body. And I think that if it starts at the top, it's very smart that you start there. Because I think if it starts at the top, the leaders will naturally give off a different vibe in the room. They will give off a different presence, and that will flow down. Because when you're giving off, and I've certainly been guilty of this. I've been guilty of it, and when I'm under pressure and I've been under stress at work, I can feel others in the team, they go quiet, because I'm the manager and I'm trying to put a smile on my face and I'm trying to be positive, but I'm not. Inside, I'm stressed, and they pick up on that. They feed off that, and it'll spread throughout your team, and then you're causing them stress, and stress raises your cortisol levels, and that's the driver of all kinds of disease, right? And heart disease,
1,000%.
and the impact your boss will have on the organization is enormous, on their mental well-being, and as a result, their physical well-being. So I think you've tapped into a very interesting market. I think it's very interesting. The challenge is, I suppose, Naama, do you have people that can also teach this and pass this information on, or are you reliant on yourself for this at the moment?
No, I have, first of all, I have a team for everything. And if I need to bring people with me for meditation, especially for meditation, I'm big part of the Chopra Global. That's where I was trained.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I need to bring like whatever number of people to train as trainers or anything like that, it works. So it's not a problem. And it happens. Yeah.
It's scalable.
Yeah. To scale it. Yeah. Yeah. That's the idea. I mean, for Deepak Chopra, for Dr. Chopra, his goal for many, many years, I mean, forever, is to have a billion people meditate.
Okay.
Yeah. So
See that happening.
we need to help him do that, reach that.
I can see that happening for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
No, I could stay on these topics. Honestly, I could talk. I could listen to you rather. I'm not doing a lot of talk, and I could listen to you all day on this. I really appreciate it. When it comes to right plan and the 360, what's the kind of clothing, the 360?
With the holistic way of conducting, when it comes to right plan, is more of
360 degree care. Sorry to interrupt you. 360, the words were on the tip of my tongue. You talk about the 360 degree care. Is that everything we've discussed there? And is that one of the messages you're getting out with your teachings?
Yeah. It's all about to bring it all together, and it's all about to understand how we can learn and adapt to have better healthcare for sure. Also everywhere, I mean, in India, we can help them as well. They need a little bit more of the Western, medicine there. So I think it's all about the balance and all about the holistic way of looking at, everything. And yeah.
I just wanted to wonder in these organizations, I'm getting this philosophy out there because I can see how beneficial it would be. Is there a lot of resistance to this, and where does that lie? Is it policy? Is it mindset, or is it habit? And how do you overcome that resistance?
Okay, so first of all, I must tell you that whoever I met so far and was actually sitting in a session of mine or were in close proximity to me or just heard about the session or just was even on their phone while I was leading meditation but were there, had experienced the effect. And this is why, for me, the physical aspect is very important because, as you said, when you come down from your spending 20 minutes on your breath, you can feel it in your body. And once you can feel it in your body, you can actually translate it. So it's all connected. It's all mind, body, spirit. But you can really understand on the physical level. So we put the mask, the oxygen mask on our face first in order for us to breathe first, in order for us to take care of ourselves first. So this philosophy and this interesting notion with the conversation with people, but you can talk to people as much as you wish, but when you take them through the experience, even when they think you lost it. In the beginning, people thought I lost it. People thought, oh my God, what do you mean? Health insurance, healthcare? Why would you think it? I still have people that think that it's, oh, sometimes people say, oh, we're going to go the different route this year. We're going to do this, whatever. I mean, sometimes, things, we are parting from each other. We are not being forever. But what do you mean you are taking a different approach? It's not taking a different approach as like the physical aspect of bringing few minutes of it's important, I mean, so I think that it's a lot of education, but it starts from the physical experience that, each and every one of us can actually share and stay open. And so it's also a relationship. And I started talking about meditation many years ago, and you gain and I already have a credibility in the industry. I was credible. So so they gave me a lot of credit for, delivering the healthcare for so many years, finding solution for benefit, even our clients, community, and, and then when you know someone and you know their heart and you are on the same mission and you want to help the mission, but it will take the entire army of health and well-being and mindset and mindful people to move the entire ecosystem of the world, humanity. And it's the next 10 years will be how much you give back, how much, how will you change the world? What will you do for other, not just about ourselves? So I think that we'll see. Listen, 2026 will be a big year. It's already, I'm starting to learn about 2026, about the stars and the alignment. We have to buckle. Let's buckle for 2026 because it's going to be a year of a change and we all have to change. I mean, we're changing all the time. If we think we don't, we live in La La Land,
The only constant, right? It's the only
Yeah.
constant.
We change all of that, but how much we will be understanding it and, just being open to the change, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. So, yeah.
Certainly is.
What's the story of the guitar?
I play the guitar. I play a little bit of guitar.
Ah,
I've got an electric guitar and I've got an acoustic guitar. I play mostly blues, and it's that's my version of art. So that's one of the things I sit down and I can just be at peace and just
that's amazing. That's really, you see, that's health and healing. This
Yeah.
part is health and healing. when you actually have an instrument, and music can heal us. Music.
Yeah,
When I feel down, I blast the music and I dance. I mean,
yeah.
that's I'm like,
I've got a
it's part of my healing process, I mean,
yeah,
I love
absolutely.
music. Yeah.
It
So
has
music,
such an impact on you, doesn't it? Music, and in so many
yeah,
different ways. It can relax you, it can energize you, it can
that's
and so many
amazing.
things. Nama, I'm going to leave her on that note. I appreciate that very much. It's been such a fascinating conversation. I feel like honestly, I could do a Joe Rogan here and talk to you for 3 hours without missing a beat. I'm so
Yeah.
interested. I'm so interested in what you've got to say. I'm so interested in
Thank
you in
you.
person. You're very, very kind. And
Thank
yeah,
you. We'll be in touch. Yeah.
even through Zoom, I can feel your positive energy,
Oh,
Nama. It's really appreciated.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll be in touch. Yeah. We'll
Yeah,
be in
let's
touch.
do that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nama. Nama Pozniak, thank you very much.